Yes, ladies and gentlemen, episode 16 of Pokemon Horizons titled As Long As I'm With Quaxly just dropped, and we have an incredible episode here which I'm so excited to talk about, so let's just jump right into it. This episode continues directly from the end of the last one, as our heroes have decided to get back Liko's pendant. However, before they can do that, Friede gives Dot a Pokeball because she actually hasn't caught her Quaxly, which is surprising. After she does capture it, Friede flies away in his Charizard to find the enemy. However, it isn't until a billboard in Lavencia tips them off to the idea that the enemy might be in a cruise, which is why they were forced to stick around even after taking the pendant, that our heroes have an idea and begin to go towards the dock. Liko also lets Friede know by calling him. Liko, Roy, and Dot make it to the dock a bit too late. However, Friede and his Charizard flies towards the ship and looks for someone and initiates a battle with the trainer who he thinks is the enemy. In the mainland, Liko is explaining the pendant to Dot when all of a sudden the ancient Pokeball that Liko has begins glowing, and that lets them know that the pendant is still around here. So they split up and Dot goes towards the ship when her Quaxly goes there when she comes across the Magneton and Behem of Spinel. The Behem tries to hypnotize and wipe Dot's memory, but Quaxly stops it. Dot, knowing that this is the enemy, has Quaxly use Water Gun in the air to send out a signal to Liko and Roy, who are nearby. Quaxly then gets hit by a Electro Ball, and when it's about to get hit by another one, Liko and Roy, who barely made it to the ship that was moving, show up and stop it. This is where we get some incredible animation. Our three heroes work together in an epic battle to take down the Magneton and Behem in a battle sequence that, like I said, looks phenomenal. However, Spinel then brings out his ace, his Umbreon. A snarl from the Umbreon sends all three of our heroes to the ground. However, just then, Liko, saying that she will protect the pendant, somehow gets her will to activate because the pendant starts glowing like crazy. Seeing this, Sprigatito and Liko run towards the pendant. When Spinel leaves his computer base, the pendant's energy is so vast that it flies out of the box that it's been kept in. Sprigatito is able to grab it and hand it back to Liko. When Liko has it back, a massive beam of light envelops her. Turns out that light is the ancient Pokeball with the help of the pendant and the giant Arboliva that they met a few episodes ago coming out of its Pokeball. The giant Arboliva glares at Spinel and Umbreon, forcing them to retreat, and our heroes leave the ship, floating on Arboliva. They then meet back up with Friede, who then later picks him up. Back in the ship, Liko's outside the ship thinking about all the troubles her pendant has caused her friends when Dot arrives. Even though she doesn't want to, Quaxly yells at her, so Dot tells Liko how much she appreciates saving her, and then she drops a bomb on her that she is indeed Nidothing. Liko is shocked. Finally, we go back to the Explorer's meeting room where we meet the three other Explorer admins, Onyx, Agate, and Sango. And this introduction is brief, but we do learn after the meeting ends that Spinel will be returning as a character because now he's more interested in the pendant, and he also didn't write everything that he saw in his report to the Explorers, and that creates for an interesting dynamic, as that is the end of the episode. This episode was probably the best episode of the series so far. There were a lot of things that I skipped over because so many cool things happened here. I skipped over the full battle itself that our heroes had. Not only does it set up future stories here by showing that Roy still has a long way to go as a trainer as his Pokemon can't work together, but for the first time in the series, it finally feels like Liko is the main character as she's the one who takes charge throughout the whole fight. I also like that this is one of the first time where it's the kids taking over and completing a fight on their own. All the conflicts in the past have had the grown-ups from the Voltaclers involved. However, here they're all set to the side, which really allows our three heroes to shine in a meaningful way. And the ending to the fight with Spinel, being the reawakening of the ancient Pokeball, makes for an interesting plot point because what could we potentially see in the future in terms of the Pokemon that Liko might have? Also, does this mean that Liko will have all the Pokemon from the Ancient Traveler and that will be her team? I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Let's talk about Dot now. Dot is an interesting character to me. She's been around as long as Liko has. In fact, she's one of the first characters we see in this series besides Liko herself. However, that's more as a Nidothing. But the interesting thing to me about Dot barely catching Quaxly now is what it says about the difference in how she was or is shown versus how she really is. When we first found out that Dot was Nidothing, we're led to believe that she's a super experienced trainer. Based on how she spoke about everything in the Nidothing video, that wouldn't be hard to believe. However, here, we learned that she's never even caught her partner Pokemon. It seems like this is her first Pokemon trainer battle, and it brings up an interesting dynamic into how much does she really know in terms of intelligence versus how much of it is applied learning. I know that a lot of her early knowledge from the Nidothing videos were because it was supposed to be a guide for the new anime watchers. However, with her now being revealed as a Nidothing to Liko, I'll be interested to see where the character goes from here. And like Horizons has been doing before, it does a fantastic job of transitioning to the next part of the story. Not only do we see more members of the Explorers to get an idea of the enemies of the future, but also the episode contains the next challenge for our heroes, that being Roy trying to get his Pokemon to work together in battle. I cannot wait for the next few episodes. But what about you guys? What did you guys think about this episode? Let me know in the comments down below. Be sure to like, share, subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at PdGaming, and that's it. I will talk to you guys later. Peace.